Hello and welcome to Northwest Indian News. I'm Carissa P. Ramsey, a Puyallup tribal member. Today we are in Duncan, BC at the Coatson Cultural Center for the Coast Salish Gathering. Representatives from Canadian and U.S. tribes have gathered to talk about the shared resources in the Coast Salish Sea and plan for the future of our coastal ecosystem. This year is the 6th year of the gathering that continues to grow to include not only tribal leaders and hereditary chiefs, but youth representatives and environmental organizations.
150 years ago, our elders lived in an environment that was totally free of pollution. There was no issues of DDTs, PCBs, dioxins, mercury, any contaminants like that to think of. And in the last 100 years, we've just seen a society where they thought that they could just flush all these pollutants into the Salish Sea and there would not be any impacts, and that was not the case. Our goal is to try to come together to make people aware that this cannot continue in this century, and it is up to us to try to make a change, a positive change for the Salish Sea.
There's something very special with the sea and the mountains here, and that rhythm of the land has sustained our peoples for innumerable generations, and we've seen a great deal of change in a very short period of time, in a matter of a few generations. The decimation of our salmon, of our forests, of our cedar trees, and now with oil and gas and mining, we need to come together and recognize that this isn't just a Coast Salish issue, that this is actually a story of humanity.
It's a nice term to say we gather to focus on ecology, but that's kind of a gentle term. We're gathering because we're concerned about the pollution that's impacting the ecology, impacting sea, impacting the foods, impacting the culture.
We need to continue to look at spirituality because Western models have generally removed spirituality from their vocabulary in managing natural resources. It's become profit-driven, and sustainability in most corporate dialogue is profits. So we need to address that economy is important for the quality of life for all of us, but we also have to look as stewards of the land in how we're ensuring succession for our future generations.
Trying to get the United States and Canada to recognize that border that we have there, that the Salish Sea does not recognize that border, and that pollution does not recognize that border, and it doesn't stop at customs before it goes either into the United States or it goes into Canada. And so when we can come to that realization that this ecosystem that we live in, we are one. And to hear our sister governments on the federal side and the Canadian side have a willingness to want to work with us cooperatively, and seeing the impacts and the strong relationships that can be established with working with the tribes and the First Nations was a very positive message that we heard today.
Part of the Coast Salish Gathering is to invite various levels of government and their agencies, such as Environment Canada and EPA in Washington. So having the representatives of government here is very important, that they hear the concerns and the challenges that are the reality of Coast Salish peoples on a daily basis.
Over the last 6 or 7 years, we've been recognized as a force to be reckoned with, and we have been given awards in DC and been recognized by the Canadian federal government for our work on the Salish Sea. And I feel that we're only going to continue to get stronger by coming together as one, speaking with one voice. And Lord willing, we can, make this place better for our next generations and the next 7 generations, that we can turn this around so they will not have to be exposed to these same things that our people are today. We have to think of ourselves as one big family working for the common goal of the Salish Sea.
It's been my wonderful experience to get the tribes talking, and they find out they're not alone in their efforts, and that's really a wonderful thing for them. People have had concerns and they thought they were all by themselves dealing with a government or dealing with a municipality, and they find out that not too far away another tribe is doing the same thing, and they've been able to work together on dealing with the concerns.
We're starting to see that the Coast Salish are recognizing that we are Coast Salish first and foremost, that this is our truth and this is our history. Get out in the canoes, go out and hunt and berry pick and immerse your children in their upbringing, the nuchneo, the sacred upbringing of our children. And what does that look like? What are the actions that go with that? We still have our longhouses. We still have our connection to the rivers and to each other. And it's up to us. We have a choice, you know, to respond to the challenge that's ahead of us, that's here in our villages today, in our families. There's a lot of work ahead of us, but I feel very optimistic and confident as we come together like this under one roof here in Cowichan. This is a good step forward.
For more information about the Coast Salish Gathering, go to www.coastsalishgathering.com.
The last time I tried to talk to you about this was that summer at fish camp when there was no fish.
You were too young.
I'm not too young now.
Next, we'll travel to Anchorage, Alaska to learn about the Winter Bear Project, a theater production aimed at lowering the suicide rate among Native youth.
Especially among Alaska Native males and young males in particular. And there are probably a lot more suicide attempts that don't get counted, and because a lot of what happens, especially in rural Alaska, is people don't want to speak of it. And
that story and much more on this episode of Northwest Indian News.
If I stay on the res, I'll be 8 times less likely to drop out of college.
If I stay on the res,
I won't be just another number.
I can learn biology in my native language.
I can use my education to help my people.
If I stay on the res,
I'll be more likely to transfer to a university.
6 times more likely. If I stay on the res.
There's a 9 in 10 chance I'll finish college.
And I will finish college.
I will learn about the old ways so my culture will live on.
I will make my parents proud.
I'll make my people proud.
Our history will not be forgotten.
If I stay on the res.
I can get a quality education.
At a tribal college.
At a tribal college.
If I stay on the res.
If I stay on the res.
If I stay on the res.
Learn more about the 33 tribal colleges and how they're helping Native American people and their reservations. The American Indian College Fund, educating the mind and spirit.
I'm going to stay on the res.
Washington's Indian tribes are investing in education. In Auburn, the Muckleshoot tribe just opened a new state-of-the-art $40 million school for up to 500 students in grades K through 12.
The tribe has made an investment in the Muckleshoot people, not just into facilities, but into the people to gain an education.
We want our children to be able to succeed in life. We want them to be able to compete with anyone in the world and achieve whatever they need to in their lives.
Welcome back to Northwest Indian News. For decades, Alaska Native peoples have had the highest suicide rate of any ethnicity in the United States. In Anchorage, Alaska, a powerful theater experience is creating a new dialogue about this tragic epidemic. The Winter Bear is a dramatic and original play that is broadening awareness about suicide while promoting healing through the performing arts.
You think I don't know about suicide? I lost 3 sons. 3 strong, good boys. They cut wood for me.
what happened to them?
I can't talk about it.
I don't like to say it's about suicide, because to me it's about the causes of suicide. There's nothing to talk about when you get to suicide. That's the end. But there's a lot to talk about first as to how a young person would get to that point, that they would feel so hopeless.
I want to know why my dad got up one day and shot himself to death.
It's getting late. You shouldn't be traveling in the dark.
I have headlights. The last time I tried to talk to you about this was that summer at fish camp when there was no fish.
You were too young.
I'm not too young now.
I just can't talk about it. That's how I was raised.
We have the highest rate per capita in the United States of suicide, especially among Alaska Native males and young males in particular. And there are probably a lot more suicide attempts that don't get counted. And because a lot of what happens, especially in rural Alaska, is people don't want to speak of it. And people who don't speak of it also are afraid that if they do, that something will happen. Like, for instance, their youth will be then incarcerated or put somewhere and taken away from them. And because of that, a lot of times it just goes unnoticed for a long time. And so this Winter Bear really is a way for people to open up conversation and communicate about it.
At least I try to light my bick. What? You heard me. You heard me loud and clear.
Are you calling me a coward? Where's my rifle?
What do you need your damn rifle for?
So I can blow my brains out like my old man did.
No, you don't.
Why not?
Because I don't want to clean up your freaking mess any more than you want to clean up my freaking mess.
It's extremely important for us to get the message out through this play that, especially for the teenagers, the young males, that their lives matter. They feel very alienated and disconnected in this modern life. You know, they feel like they can't even talk to the older people, and that life doesn't help them, and this greater society doesn't seem to want them, and so why should they be here? And too many of them are choosing to check out. And what we want to do in this play is tell them, you know what, your lives are amazing. What you do and how you circulate through all this is so important that we want to make a whole show honoring that. And we also want to show a way that a much older generation and a much younger generation can actually find some common ground and learn things from each other that they could only learn from each other.
It's very important for people to start talking about these things, because if you don't talk about it, then, well, I don't know, you just need to talk about it. You just need to talk about it to anybody you trust, if it's a teacher, coach, parent, uncle.
But if any of you are thinking about offing yourselves, I'm begging you, talk to me. I'll help you however I can. I'll get you whatever you need. I'll hold on to you the way Sidney Huntington held on to me. We have to help each other, like in the old days. You can take my words the way the big one took my spear, or not. That's up to you. But if you want to change, I know you can. Look at me. Look at me.
To learn more about the Winter Bear Project, including tour dates, visit their website at winterbearproject.com. When we return, we'll witness the launch of a new Navy tugboat named in honor of the Puyallup tribe.
These vessels takes pride in your ownership of your part, and I think that shows throughout.
Washington's Indian tribes are investing in jobs. Job-creating investments like the $350 million container terminal in Tacoma.
Puyallup Tribe, through Marine View Ventures, is partnering with SSA Marine to develop a 200-acre, 3-berth terminal, which at full build-out will be the largest terminal in the Pacific Northwest.
Tribal governments are investing in Washington's economy, creating jobs in many different industries. Everyone's working together to make it happen.
Who says that all good things must come to an end? That nothing lasts forever? That you can't turn the tide for good? For us, protecting nature comes so naturally. We're the tribes in Western Washington, stewards, and have been for centuries to come.
If everyone who visited a landmark, a monument, or a burial ground took a piece home with them, there would be nothing left. Nigigora. American Indian nations ask you to respect the sacred places of our people and report those who don't. Gowitz Mazigirats. Learn more at www.lewisandclark200.org.
Washington's Indian tribes are investing in health care. The Jamestown S'Klallam tribe is expanding their health care clinic to meet an ever-growing community need.
Quality health care of our people, of our citizens, Indian and non-Indian alike, is essential for our future.
This new 35,000 square foot clinic will provide medical services and be open to the general public. tribal governments are investing millions of dollars each year across our state to improve health and dental care in our communities.
That's the bottom line for us, is quality health care.
The U.S. Navy's newest tugboat, the YT-806, is named in honor of the Puyallup tribe. Built and launched in Tacoma, the Puyallup Tug was constructed with the help of over a dozen Native American shipbuilders. NWIN's David Bean was there when the Puyallup was christened.
The U.S. Navy has a long history of naming service vessels after U.S. tribes. We're standing by the newest Navy tug, the Puyallup, built by J.M. Martinak Shipbuilding of Tacoma, Washington. But the Puyallup is more than just a name on a ship. It represents the coming together of the U.S. government, private industry, and Indian tribes.
Some people kind of take it for granted that they name or they dub or they hang a moniker on a project or a product that it represents a people, a culture, a being. The shipbuilding company came to me and said, you know, we'd like to actually show greater respect to the tribal nations. And you know, we feel kind of odd about not talking to the tribe first. And I said, well, thank you. I knew you were great people, but this shows great respect. So they asked me, they said, Chris, you know, we'd really like to sit down and do this in a good way. And how can we go talk to the Puyallup tribe? And I said, well, you know what? That's a question I've answered quite often lately. How do you go talk to the tribes? I said, well, what do you say to your neighbor? Hi. So there, you know, that started this great conversation. To the Puyallup, the Salish, which in their language as Puyallup means the giving people. To use their name and then to ask permission to use their name is showing the greatest respect.
We have between 85 and 100 folks in here, all union craftsmen that are working on these boats. And we have a number of tribal nation members, not just the Puyallups, but other tribes as well. We have tribal members now that have been with us for 30 years. So it's been a terrific relationship. They turn out great work, as you can see. And tonight, they are going to do a ceremony. They are going to bless the vessel, and Ms. Rolene Hargrove of the Puyallup Nation will be the sponsor of the vessel. So it's on a lot of different levels. This is a terrific relationship and a great partnership with the nation.
Being in the service for 20 years, it's such an experience. And coming back, knowing that a Navy tug is going to be named after the Puyallup tribe, honoring the tribal members, and the community knowing that there's a tug named after the tribe here, and that's going to be part of the Armed Forces, the U.S. Navy, it's an honor.
It became very obvious once we went to the tribes what our mutual interests were. We wanted to honor the tribes, and that's kind of like a tabletop level. And it wasn't until we sat with them, we talked with them, and we got involved with them to understand this and found out how many interests we have in common: jobs, stewardship, environment. You know, all the things that we have in common. It became kind of obvious that we are and they are basically going down the same path. So the relationship, I'd like to think that it was a relationship that had been sitting there for a long time, and until we, you know, went and asked, and that was our job to do, until we went and asked, we didn't really know how much we had in common or what good friends they are to us.
Martinak is going to present the Puyallup tribe with a plaque that will be placed in the pilot house that will be telling the story of the Puyallup tribe. Everybody can see it that come on board, knowing that it's another culture exchange, knowing that other people will see it, read that plaque, and know a little bit of history of who we are, where we came from.
In times of tragedy, most vessels leave for safety. These vessels will go into harm's way to protect. And much like our tribal nations and a lot of our veterans and our warriors in our history, they've stood up in all times of turmoil in this country and abroad. This vessel represents that stewardship That's truly representative of all people and specifically Native people. Specifically Native people.
For Northwest Indian News, this is David Bean reporting.
Visit nwin.tv, where you can view every episode of Northwest Indian News on demand, including the stories you've seen today.
We have tribal members now that have been with us for 30 years. So it's been a terrific relationship. They turn out great work, as you can see.
You can also watch NWIN and other Native programming at kanutv.com.
Go. So form first, control, and then speed.
Coming up next, we'll visit the Nisqually Reservation to learn about a new health program that's turned into a fun competition.
Good. Try to minimize your steps by really pushing out there.
Washington's Indian tribes are investing in natural resources.
The main goal of the Puyallup Forestry Program is to preserve over half of our reservation in the forestry classification.
The Tulalip's manage their tribal forest lands, create jobs, and also work with the U.S. Forest Service in our national forests.
We have a very unique collaborative effort here with the Tulalip tribes to restore the landscape for future generations.
Tribal stewardship of natural resources across Washington is an investment that benefits everyone.
Indian languages are libraries of ancient knowledge. When a language dies, that knowledge is lost forever. Native American languages hold answers for the future. Please help us save our languages. Learn how at lewisandclark200.org.
Washington Indian tribes are investing in the environment. The Nisqually tribe has undertaken the restoration of the Nisqually River Delta.
The goal of the project is to remove all the dikes, reflood the estuary, and help bring back the salmon runs.
The Delta is a huge piece of our environmental efforts. So we feel this really deep internal desire to keep the river as well as these surrounding prairies in the best shape possible.
Our people come from this land. Our languages and cultures are reflections of its beauty. This land is a gift to all beings. It is the home we live in together. Always have respect. Join us in taking care of this land. Learn more at www.lewisandclark200.org.
A positive and supportive competition is resulting in improved health benefits for the Nisqually tribe. The Biggest Winner contest isn't just about losing weight and winning prizes. The program includes nutrition education, support, and coming together as a community to help stop the cycle of heart disease and diabetes in Native Americans. NWIN's Raven Speaker has the story.
Your friendly neighborhood Raven Speaker is here in Nisqually today to find out how great music, good exercise, and a little friendly competition can go a long way to inspire a whole tribe to better health.
Nice low center of gravity so you don't hurt your knees or your ankles.
There's a lot of everybody that needs it. Diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity throughout our communities, and it's getting younger and younger and younger. It's more prevalent, more obvious.
You're gonna really feel it in your legs, yeah.
At the request of Nisqually Councilman Willie Frank Jr., Leilani started the Biggest Winner Challenge on the reservation, and the results went beyond what anybody could have expected.
Nice job, Karen. You got it.
Being involved with the Biggest Winner Challenge, it gets to the deepest core of people. It means that they have to challenge themselves to the point where they have to look deep within themselves and find strength somewhere outside of them. You become so empowered that you believe, then I can get a college degree. I can become the next president. I can do all of these amazing things.
The Tribal Council had put out a grand prize of $4,000 for a team of 4 people, and then the team with the highest weight loss percentage